gold, and many other titles. That I'll immediately get into my first question and ask you, you have done this for so long, have you achieved this? Have you managed to win all that the sport can offer, with the exception of Olympic gold?
Yeah, I suppose it's still yet to go to the Olympics, but we're going to see that in 2016, and I can't tell you whether I'll be still coaching then. But yeah, I've had a pretty long time at the Sevens helm in New Zealand, of course, under my 16th year. Been coaching them since 1994, certainly a long time. Worked with a number of really good rugby players. The numbers of the players out there now in terms of what I could select before are much limited due to Super 14 obviously now, and now it's going into Super 15 and All Blacks, etc. So I'm out there always looking for lots and lots of new players, and we get new players every year now, and that's why I've still got a passion for coaching the team.
What is the key ingredient to your success?
I think the key ingredient is you've got to build a culture within your team, a real family culture, and you've got to have players that have got to have a really good work ethic. I think that's really important. You've obviously got to pick players that have got some natural talent, a lot of natural skills and talent, have a vision. The skill sets are very, very important in sevens. But more than anything, I work them very hard physically. I'm quite ruthless as a coach, but also work on them mentally. And to play sevens, you have to put the hard yards in and to be very, very fit. And that's the key, really. And even teams like Kenya, when you see all them come out, they're all athletes. If you can start handling the physicality side of it, from athletically, they're very, very good. Handling the physical side of it, and like we do in New Zealand, we spend a lot of time in the gyms now getting stronger and more powerful, more explosive. I think that's the key, and if you can get that mix right, the work ethic, the fitness, the mental strength, I think all that, and then you create the culture, that family culture, I think that it really unifies them, and that gives you the ingredients to go and win.
One of your favorite expressions is emptying the tank. What's that all about?
It's about every player going out and giving it his all, giving you 200% when he goes out and plays. Not a player that comes out and says, what if only if I'd done this, only if I'd done that. And that's why you've got to get them superbly fit. You attack them physically and mentally, and when I say empty the tank, give me everything you've got. So if you're at a certain level, you can go as high, a little bit higher than that. Once you're exhausted, you can't give them any more, then you come off, and that's really why I say empty the tank. And if you get that collectively amongst all your squad, consistently, then you can't go far wrong.
How do you deal with the Kiwi public in light of the increasing competitiveness of the sevens?
I'm obviously in New Zealand, we're a passionate country about every time our team loses, whether it be the All Blacks or the New Zealand Sevens team, any New Zealand representative team. In New Zealand, they want to win, and that's all they want to do. They don't worry about coming second. They don't want you to come second. It's about winning. It is sometimes a bit of a battle, but I think in New Zealand now they really understand sevens rugby, that it's a huge part of our development. We bring players through, and I go and find young players, 18, 19-year-olds, and bring them through, and they use sevens as a launching pad to then go on to Super 14, or it's going to be 15 next year, and then to become an All Black. I've had 39 players that have come through the New Zealand Sevens team now, another 2 just last week, that have actually gone on to become fully fledged All Blacks. When you look back at the Christian Cullens and John Olumas, Joe Rukathoka, Rodney Saurialo, there's players in there now, Miliaina, all those players. They were very, very good sevens players, and those players obviously use sevens as a launching pad, and we go on to become very good All Blacks.
You spoke about losses. How did you feel losing to Kenya for the first time?
Oh, it was always going to happen. I think that's sevens rugby now. There's 7 or 8 teams now that could win any tournament. And what I've found with the emergence of all these teams, it's made it a lot tougher. New Zealand's always set the benchmark. We won the first probably 8 out of the first 9 World Series tournaments, and obviously it was always New Zealand, Fiji, but we've seen all these other teams emerge now, and Kenya's one of those teams. I can still remember them beating us in the quarterfinal in Hong Kong. It was always going to happen. It was just I didn't want it to happen to us on any particular day. But there's some teams out there that have never beaten us. But just going through the entire World Series this year, up until Scotland just on the weekend, we'd only had 1 team beating us right throughout the year, and that was, of course, Samoa. Kenya drew with us in London, but that's sevens rugby now. And what you've got to produce is consistency. We won a World Series one year and only won 1 tournament, but we'd always been in there or thereabouts in every tournament, so we produced consistency. So that to me is the real key to accumulating points to win a series.
Still dwelling on Kenya, you've definitely played them several times and have witnessed them grow to become a core side in the RFUEA Sevens World Series. What's your take on the Kenyan side?
Well, they're a very, very good side. They probably lack consistency at the moment. They lift themselves every time they play New Zealand. They probably lift themselves every time they play a team like Samoa as well. Certainly the top teams, they have no problem getting up for. It's when they play the Portugals and the lesser teams, the minnows, that's when they've got to lift themselves. They've got to play every game like a final, as simple as that. And that's how we have to treat every game, because if we just have to ease up, we'll certainly get beaten. And I mean, I've seen Chile beat Australia. You know, you will see minnows go out and beat some very good sides. The other day, Canada beat England, and then Canada went and lost to Russia in the bowl final. You know, quite crazy really. And then England took Samoa to extra time. So you've got to get them up, and that's the sign of good teams that can consistently do it week in and week out. I've never ever not made a quarter final of a championship. You know, and there are some teams that I've never made the championship in some cases. So that's certainly one goal that I set with my team every time we go out. We must make the quarterfinal of the championship, because you still want to be in the tournament.
Kenya has had a dip in form during the just ended campaign. Any thoughts, any comments, any advice on this dip on the way forward?
No, I'd say with the Kenyan team, I've seen the team now for a long time over the last 3 or 4 years. They've got a very, very good side. I think they need to start building depth, because there will be times that with a lot of countries now where you do get injuries, and you're going to need a certain amount of depth for players to come in to strengthen them. You know, and that to me is really important. You know, it's great, but then a lot of I'm losing my players year in and year out. So I now have to build a core of players that I'm going to have there for the next 3 or 4 years, so I can build those new younger players around. So from Kenya's perspective, I think they need to perhaps bring in some new younger players, and you've got to give them the opportunities to play in a World Series tournament, because I remember winning a World Series one year, and we lost it the previous year. That same team won it for me the following year. We won 47 straight games, which was seven straight tournaments, and those were from the players that had an unsuccessful first year in a World Series. They gathered that experience, they became better players, and I think, you know, if I look at the Kenyan team now, consistently they pick the same players and they've got them still in there, but I still obviously think now they need to start looking at also bringing some new younger players in and giving them an opportunity to work with the senior experienced players.
Lastly, you're in the place where it all happens, according to you. You wanted to see where it all happens for Kenyan rugby. How does it feel being in Kenya?
Well, it's great. I mean, I've been to South Africa, but I've never been to the South African country here in Nairobi, and I'm really excited about also going not only to the Safari Sevens, but going into a game park and that as well. But no, it's I mean, they're fantastic athletes. I watch them at the Commonwealth Games, I watch them at the Olympic Games. They win gold medals left, right and centre, 800, 1500 metres runners. They've got the physique and certainly the staying power to be top sevens players. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if sevens rugby didn't become quite a national sport here in Kenya, because of the success they've had, and they're obviously for a lot of the crowds out there. The darlings of the crowd, they get a lot of support wherever they go. I'm actually quite blown away really when we played them in the quarterfinal in USA this year in Vegas. I thought I was playing them in Kenya. There was that many Kenyans there to support them, and it's likewise in London. It's likewise anywhere you play them. They generate a huge amount of support.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your stay in Kenya.
No worries.